In 2015, Kendrick's release of To Pimp a Butterfly releases incredible narratives, and it has three key themes as explained by Sayeed Joseph, which I actually found brilliant. To Pimp, of structural racism; the Cocoon, of self-examination; the Butterfly, of reaffirmation. And this video will touch on all three of them, but before I continue, let me add some context. If you didn't already know, the Black Lives Matter movement is extremely important. It's an international activist movement that began in 2013, the aims being to combat and expose the structural and personal oppressions of racism that impact the mental health of people of color, especially black people. Now, this is nothing new. All peoples of color have been oppressed for generations. The Invisible Man, published in 1952, addressed issues such as identity, black nationalism, Booker T. Washington's reformist policies, and more. However, two events in 2014 prompted outcry and attention in particular. So, Michael Brown was shot in Ferguson by police, and Eric Garner died from a chokehold by an officer. Both of these situations kickstarted questioning the use of force by law enforcement. Compare To Pimp a Butterfly to two genres, blues and jazz. Blues was a genre that black novelist Ralph Ellison explained as an autobiographic chronicle of personal catastrophe expressed lyrically, and jazz, a genre rife with history of social critique, such as Sonny Rollins' 1958 Freedom Suite and Wynton Marsalis's 1997 Blood on the Fields. When you listen to the album, you can hear an instant link to these genres. In fact, Amiri Baraka calls this link the changing same, the aesthetic that all forms of African American music have regardless of style. The theme of The Pimp is identifying structural racism. Institutionalized, for example, narrates Kendrick's struggle with his own image, his desire for identity stemming from firstly Compton, a neighborhood with limited life opportunities for self-actualization, and really a society that praises violence for status, but at the cost of emotions and one's psyche. And secondly, contrasting this with his negative emotions, which are then remanifested again through violence, creating a vicious cycle. And this link extends to blues as well. Similarly, in the Jim Crow era, lynching and oppression was common. Black men and women would often carry weapons for self-defense, and here you get to see institutionalizing internal violence in this sense. Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit, for example, is a great reference for this trauma. The manifestation of the Cocoon theme in this album really shines on the track You, a song defeminizing traits of love and empathy and encouraging taking control. It's a confrontation to one's failures and self-destructive behaviors. If you look at, for example, the Butterfly theme as well, the Butterfly theme of reaffirmation exists on two of the more popular songs from the album, I and All Right. The theme reaffirms the point that black lives have to be saved through loving self, and that affirmation of humanity is critical. And All Right demonstrates that internal oppressions that the body absorbs from trauma gives us the strength to continue and be alright. Music journalist Carvel Wallace stated that Kendrick makes music that flows. And this leads to explaining how his music is of blues and jazz tradition, of telling stories boldly and honestly to redefine black masculinity and destigmatize mental health in this community. Approaching subjects like depression, resentment, suicide, and survivor's guilt is not an easy thing to do, but Kendrick has done so and built a framework to help people prove that it is possible to rebuild and help others understand that the self is all that matters.